everyone, and welcome to Global Outlook. I'm Mary Sitt. Art makes us laugh, it makes us cry, it makes us think, and sometimes it inspires us. Our first guest leads and inspires students who are in the arts at HCC. Dr. Colleen Reilly is the Dean of the Center of Excellence for Visual, Media, and Performing Arts. Dr. Reilly, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me about the program you have at HCC. How extensive is it, and what do you teach students?
Oh my goodness. Well, we have 7 programs under the Center of Excellence. They are art, audio recording technology, dance, drama, filmmaking, music, and music business. And we offer those courses across the system. So we have quite a big footprint at HCC, building in project-based learning in many of our classes. So if we are teaching an intro to theater class or a dance appreciation class, it's very important to us that our students are participating in the discipline as well.
So when a student goes to HCC and studies the arts, he or she comes out with an Associate of Arts degree, right?
Correct, yes.
And tell me, how much classroom and how much performance time do they get?
Well,
you know
we're very rare among undergraduate programs in that our students perform or exhibit every semester. So our associate degrees in studio art, dance, drama, and music are academic degrees. Those students are completing the core curriculum, but they also have fields of study in their discipline, and they're quite active. We do drama productions at Central, at Stafford, and at Spring Branch. We have dance at Central and at Spring Branch, and we have studio art across the system. So, and our music programs are at Stafford, at Spring Branch, and at Central as well. So our
Stafford has a new theater
very
too.
active.
I think Stafford High School, is that what you're talking about, Stafford High School?
The Southwest campus, the Stafford.
Okay, Southwest campus,
Center.
okay.
Yeah.
So students get a lot of experience on the stage if they're in the performing arts, right, to actually perform. And can the public go to all these performances? Is it paid, or is it free for the public?
Absolutely, we are free and open to the public. You just go to the HCC events calendar. We won't be producing over the summer, but we'll be back at it in the fall.
Okay, so after that 2-year course of study, they have that associate degree. Where do most students go? Do they go to another, academic institution, or do they go off into the real world and say, okay, I'm going to try to do my, act at this comedy club or whatever they're doing?
Well, our students are prepared to enter as professionals. Many of the students completing their associate's degrees in the arts are transferring to 4-year programs, and we have a very good placement rate. And then our filmmaking, audio recording technology, and music business students, they transfer right into occupations.
So you've been in the field of art education for years, and every year you direct an arts festival in Charleston, South Carolina, one of the places I've always wanted to go. Tell me about that festival, and how do you bring what you do in the real world and real festivals, that's paid, right, into HCC, the academic world?
Well, it's very much a collaborative effort. I have worked with Theater 99 in Charleston, South Carolina since 2000. Every year we participate in the Piccolo Splato Festival, which is run by the city of Charleston, which is the sister festival to Splato Festival USA, which is an international festival.
So, excuse me, wait a minute. The Piccolo Festival, what is that? Is that what do we see? A lot of different plays, or is that music, or what?
It's everything. Piccolo Splato is theater, dance, music, and studio art, visual art as well. And Splato Festival USA has a very strong opera track. And our theater, Theater 99, does a lot of solo performance, improv, devised theater, sort of fast and furious. So,
Dr. Reilly, what about the business side of the arts? Anyone going into the arts, do they have to always have a side gig to just pay the bills? I mean, what is it like in Houston, for the scene for the arts?
Well, this is a little known fact, I think, but the creative economy in Houston employs more people than the medical center. So
really?
We're in Houston, in this region,
wow.
Our artists can support themselves, which, is not something that we can do across the nation, but in large urban areas, there's a lot of opportunity, and our students need a strong entrepreneurial skill set. But this is a good place in the United States to learn about the creative disciplines and find creative professions.
And how have you had to pivot with the pandemic, which is still ongoing, but not as severe as before? How do artists and student artists have to adjust? How do they do that? And what do you teach them about that?
Yeah, well, I think the initial transition was challenging, but our performance classes started experimenting with dance on film, for example.
Oh, wow.
Our students were working in drama and streaming productions, so it pushed us into a lot of new technologies. We were very excited to come back to campus and will remain on campus, but I see more and more of those technologies being integrated as a skill set that our students need.
What's your vision for the Center for Excellence, Center for Excellence for Visual Media and Performing Arts?
It is very important to me that every student who enrolls at HCC has an avenue to an arts experience. And I'm really pleased with the enrollment growth that we've had in our programs, but it's also important to me that all students at HCC have an opportunity to work with us.
So tell me what student success looks like for you in your field.
Student success looks like joyful members of the community, creating arts, performing, giving back to the community, teaching. So, we work very closely with our students on a one-on-one basis. So student success to me is a very personal thing. I can see the transformation with our students.
That's great. And when you see students, do you see like people who are just naturally talented and they just have to have that talent, shaped and coached? Or do you see people on the other, on a different spectrum, maybe where they have a really strong desire, but talent sort of, what do you see among, your student population?
Every human being has an innate creative ability, and some humans have more proficiency and need a little less exposure, but all humans can participate, can engage with training, which is very good, development, intellectual development, social development. So I'm not a huge believer in talent alone. I think that it takes talent, training, and discipline, and growth in any one of those areas will bring success.
Talent, training, and discipline. And training and discipline are the two things that HCC can bring to students and coach them in that area. Is that right?
Absolutely.
What's your most challenging aspect of your job, Dr. Reilly?
There's just, we have so many students and I want to see them all exhibit. I want to see them all perform. So in the spring, I feel like I live in my Prius and I'm driving campus to campus. It's the most exciting time, but it's always a challenge to squeeze everyone in.
Okay, and if you had to give one piece of advice to students who are starting this area, what would you give them? A new student in your field, in this area?
You do not fear failure. You fail often, and fail better, and just be resilient and keep coming back to the work.
That's great. And we, the public, should just check out the calendar of events on the HCC website.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
start supporting those students. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Coming up next, we'll meet a student from Turkey who brings joy to audiences with her beautiful singing. Stay with us.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
Our next guest started playing keyboard at age 6, and 2 years later, she was admitted to a prestigious music institute studying piano in her home country of Turkey. Melisa Gultan is a pianist and opera singer studying music here at HCC. Melisa, thanks for being with us.
I thank you so much for giving this opportunity to speak with you.
So tell me, what courses are you studying at HCC?
I'm now studying music in HCC, and I'm going to be officially starting music department in fall.
Okay, now you already have a degree in music from Turkey, right? So
Yes.
tell me, what are the different things you're learning here at HCC? How is that different from what you've already learned?
I'm getting so much experience as I could do my lifetime in Turkey. The teachers are never hesitating to help me, and they're so friendly, and I appreciate it so much. And it's a blessing for me to be able to perform my music here, even though as a
Okay,
foreigner.
so let's take a listen to a clip we have of you singing an aria from an opera. The opera's named, it's called Eva. And what is the name of the aria?
It's Im heimlichen Dimmer.
Okay, and where are you performing this?
I'm performing this in my school, Hacettepe University, Ankara State Conservatory, and it was my teacher's class concert.
Okay, let's take a listen. That's beautiful, Melissa. You started out as a pianist. How did you get your start in singing and opera, especially?
I was much excited when it was about to have the choir lessons or when we had the note reading lessons. I was enjoying much more, and my choir teachers did encourage me to switch the opera department, which could be available from the age 15. So after my middle school and high school, I switched my school to Hacettepe University, Ankara State Conservatory, opera department.
And how old were you when you started first studying voice and opera?
15.
15. So you're at the age when most kids are listening to pop music
Yeah.
and you're doing opera,
Yeah.
right? I mean, did you just feel drawn to the music? I mean, what was it about opera and the classical music that appealed to you?
I had like sometimes love and hate relationship, but the more I grew up, the more I became mature. I started to love it more and more, but I enjoy all types of music, all kinds of music.
And where did your love of music come from? I mean, were your parents musicians or grandparents?
I'm the only one in the whole family that is
Oh
a
my goodness.
musician. Yeah. When I was around 6 years old, my mom realized that I'm playing the keyboard and the harmonica together in the same tune, and she was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then she talked with the current music teacher in my normal school, and he was like, "Oh, there's like talent exams. Maybe you should take her." But for avoiding stress, she was like, "I'm not gonna tell her anything. She will just gonna do it, and we will see." And I'm like one of the second pianists that year was accepted to the school.
Wow. So they only accepted two out of hundreds of other students who
Yes.
auditioned. Is that right?
Yes.
That's great. So you're one of those persons who had the natural talent of music and then it was developed, right? Once your mom recognized it and decided to develop it. That's wonderful. Tell me, how is HCC helping you with your career goals?
I actually did not expect to do this much. I'm beyond blessed. I'm so grateful. I did start to meet the fine arts teachers without starting the actual courses, and they're helping me out so much. They appreciate me to do my music as long as I want to, and that's a really wonderful feeling for me to be able to do my art.
Have you had a chance to perform much at HCC, like the different student recitals that Dr. Reilly was mentioning?
No, not yet.
Not
But
yet.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, well, let me know when you perform. I'd love to go.
Okay.
Now, I also noticed in your resume that you also accompany other artists you're the pianist for them. Tell me about that aspect of your work.
When I transferred to the other school as an opera department, all the students were like, "Oh, can you play me this? Can you help me with this? Can you play me this?" And then they were just like putting the whole note in front of me, sight read. At the first glance, I had to do it. And it was throughout my whole school life until I get graduated. When the accompanist was not coming to the official lesson, I was taking over. They're like, "Oh, Melisa, can you play?" And I'm like, "Okay." And then it was a whole opera, whole stage opera.
Wow.
So with time, with suffering, I kind of came to that point where
So
I can go
is
sight read.
this helping you like with as part-time jobs, part-time gigs that help you out? You're able to
Yeah,
help?
it should be.
Okay.
It should be. It's a really useful thing to be fast and doing the sight read with the piano.
How difficult, Melissa, has it been to develop a career in Houston versus, say, Turkey in Istanbul?
Actually, I'm so happy here. I could do so much things here. Houston offers so many opportunities for every aspect of music, and I'm feeling beyond blessed here because I'm voluntarily participating in church, and when there is things I'm always around, I can do it. In Turkey, I didn't have that much experience opportunities.
What inspires you musically?
Since I started at so early age, it's kind of like a part of me. So when all my feelings throughout life with sadness, happiness, I always make sure to put it into my music.
So music is it's where how you express your emotions and how it right where
Yeah.
your go-to place
Yeah,
if you
since
feel
I
sad.
grew up with it my
Yeah.
whole time.
So what are your career plans now after HCC? What would you like to do? What's your, your dream?
I haven't decided yet because there are so many opportunities, but I just want to focus on my what I'm gonna accomplish in HCC, and it will probably make me build a path for my next plans.
That's very good. Well, thank you so much for for the interview and wish you the very best of luck in your opera career. We'll look for your name.
Thank you so
Melisa
much.
Gultan. Thank you so much. Coming up next, we'll meet the co-founder of Ampersand, a company that matches young professionals to paid internships and teaches them the skills they need. Stay with us.
La forma en la que ves tus opciones puede cambiar en un minuto. Houston Community College te ayuda a encontrar tu camino con más de 200 programas que te abren oportunidades a puestos de trabajo. Inscríbete hoy para las clases de primavera y enfoca tu futuro con HCC.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
That one day at PE when they were like yelling at me and then you just linked arms with me. I don't think you know how much like that helped me. I finally like knew that I had somebody.
Our next guest helps young professionals start careers in the fields they want. Allie Danziger is a co-founder of Ampersand, a company that matches young professionals to paid internships and teaches them the skills they need to succeed. Allie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Allie, how did you get the idea of starting Ampersand? It was sort of to fill in some sort of internship gap, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I previously had a marketing agency for 12 years that my talent acquisition strategy in that company was interns always. And I just really saw always the skills gap from education to employment, but was really invested in training, coaching, mentoring those young professionals. Probably hired 250 entry level or interns right out of college in that decade or so. And then in the early part of the pandemic, I was spending most of my Fridays coaching and mentoring young professionals in the community who had either lost their jobs or internships or were deciding whether or not to go back to college. I kind of felt like this broken record, saying the same thing over and over again to these young professionals. So ultimately came up with the idea for Ampersand. I got on Zoom coaching these young professionals, and then it spiraled into what it's become today.
And you started this right when the pandemic hit. It was March 2020. I think we were all starting to go on lockdown in March. How did that work out for you? And how did you manage to survive?
Yeah, well, I was just starting. I was running my agency at that time, and I was spending this was a nights and weekends type of thing for me as I was still running the agency. And so, as I said, my Fridays were just spent talking to young professionals, coaching them, mentoring them, talking to them about what they should do now that they, their lives were changing. And I kept telling them, get off your parents' couch, just go do something valuable with this time. And then in the fall of 2020 is when I started a pilot. I didn't really know I was starting a pilot, but had 10 young professionals that I was coaching in group sessions over Zoom. And I matched them with 10 business owner friends that I basically just texted and said, hey, can you take on this awesome young professional? I'm going to coach them through their entire internship experience. And I was spending 4 hours a week with them, again, nights and weekends, just coaching them through the challenges that they were having. And as I was doing that, basically started building out a curriculum because everyone needed the same guidance and the same support and the same confidence building. We talk about things like how to send a calendar invite, how to talk to your manager, what to do when you miss a deadline, and like how to time box your calendar so that you actually can fulfill your promises. And then, it's just different than communicating with a professor or parents or people in your community.
Right.
And so we really coached them through that because there's just this massive gap between what you know and what you learn in college and what you actually need to know to be successful in the job.
I remember working at a company, and it was like every summer they'd say, okay, time for interns. Who wants an intern? Fill out this form. And I'm telling you, most of us did not want an intern because it was too much work. Yeah. And also it's like, oh no. And then some of the interns had bad internship experiences too. I mean, it was on both ways, where the manager didn't know how to coach an intern and the intern didn't really know what to do. Okay. So how do you bridge that gap? And what are companies doing wrong? And what are young graduates doing wrong? What should they be doing?
Yep. So lots of different things in that question. So first off, one thing that companies do, and I was privy to this for a decade, is you give your least experienced managers the interns. It's usually your training ground to learn how to manage. And then there's no resources developed for those entry-level managers to actually learn how to manage interns. And so that just creates the perpetual cycle that then these young professionals don't get the training they need, the managers don't get the training that they need, and then no one's having a good experience, which has set up the bad internship, terrible stigma for so long.
Not me, I don't want an intern. Right.
Exactly. Right. So we're really trying to help companies and individuals overcome that. And so your second piece of the question was, what are businesses doing incorrectly? And they're really just not giving the young professionals the space to learn. They have to give them that training. They have to give them the coaching and actually teach them. They don't know how to be in the workforce. And so actually, while most of our training is geared towards young professionals, and then we match them in these internships, this summer, we're also working directly with employers who don't have that time to teach them, and they maybe didn't hire through Ampersand. We're now going in and coaching and training their interns or entry-level hires with our proven training model of these 50 hours of asynchronous job skills training, and giving them the confidence to succeed day one of their job. So that's from the employers.
When a young professional is matched up with a business, what do you teach the young professional on the side? Do you have like side webinars and stuff like, okay, this is what you need to learn, or do you have handouts, or how do you do that coaching on the side?
Yeah, so it's all asynchronous training. It's about 9 hours of required curriculum in order to become a certified Ampersand professional. In those trainings, it is very geared towards 18 to 23-year-olds. We have no more than 3-minute videos. It's all gamified. There's games throughout. There's GIFs. We're talking to them in a language that they can understand and connect to. We're talking to them like real humans. This isn't like your typical training platform. I mean, we get real with them. We get authentic. We're vulnerable. And it helps us to better connect in general, and helps the young professionals to really stay engaged throughout the training, and then get the content that they need in order to be successful and in order to separate themselves from everyone else around them who doesn't have that extra oomph of training. And so it's delivered in a really fun platform. It's, available, like I hear that people listen to it on their mobile devices between classes as they're walking and whatnot. And we are teaching the skills. We're also teaching personal branding, how to network, resume development, mock interviews, etc., so that not just they can excel in the job, but they can get the job.
Great.
They can decide what the right career path is for them, and then how to move on from a job too, because that's part of it, right? Like how to start the job and then what to do. And
it's very practical. You teach really practical skills, like real workforce skills. But how do you find those students? How do you find the talented ones that have potential? And how do you do that matching? So the matchmaking business.
Yes. So we find the young professionals through our website. It's totally free for students to sign up. It's ampersandpro.com, and they just can fill it out to get started. We also work with universities around the country to help their students have a better overall career services experience, and basically to help this and support the career services departments. And so that's a big way that we get students. Also, our alumni are amazing referrals for us. So they help to spread the word to their.
And can you mention the companies? Allie, can you mention the companies that are offering the internships, the paid internships? Who's doing it?
We work with a ton of, I really can't right now, but we work with a ton of companies of all shapes and sizes all over the country, everything from startups to nonprofits to Fortune 50 companies. But in the platform, the way that the matching works is it's kind of like a dating app. So once the professional finishes the curriculum, they are in what we call the talent pool. And we've collected about 250 pieces of information on that individual as they've gone through the entire experience of our training. It's like a dating app. And then the business comes in and they fill out a job posting. And it's also similar to like a dating app profile. And then our algorithm matches the two together. So the businesses aren't scrolling endlessly through candidates. And the candidates are also not scrolling endlessly through jobs like you do on Handshake, LinkedIn, or Indeed.
Right.
You're only matched with the best fit for you based off of your experience, your location, your availability, and where you want to go in your career.
Okay, so how competitive is it for the young professional to get that internship? Because it sounds like a wonderful thing to get.
It is, yeah, and it's an incredible experience. And we continue coaching them throughout. It's not that competitive to get the internship once they complete the training. We do struggle that some young professionals are not fully motivated to actually complete the training. But once they complete it, we have a plethora of opportunities for them. And right now, where we sit in the year, since internships are just about to get started, we do have opportunities right now that you can get matched and start basically in a couple of weeks. But then after that, it'll be a bit of a waiting period as fall internships get started.
Allie, thank you so much. All we have to do is go on your website, ampersandpro.com, and find out more about it. Is that right?
Correct. Thank you, Mary.
That's all for this edition of Global Outlook. We'll see you again every Friday and Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and p.m. plus Saturday at 10 a.m. on Comcast Channel 19. You can also download a podcast to go on our website, hccs.edu/podcast, or watch us 24/7 on HCC's YouTube channel. I'm Mary Sitt. Thanks for joining us.
La forma en la que ves tus opciones puede cambiar en un minuto. Houston Community College te ayuda a encontrar tu camino con más de 200 programas que te abren oportunidades a puestos de trabajo. Inscríbete hoy para las clases de primavera y enfoca tu futuro con HCC.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org